Excel is soon introducing two new functions and they could completely change your day-to-day use of pivot table. In this video, I'll showcase 3 practical examples of how these new functions could be beneficial. The first example is to simply summarize data with the group by function. Let's get into Excel. So here I have a data set with some clients and sales by country and tier and also the date. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do equal group by here, and then I am going to select my rows. Let's say I want to summarize my data by client. I will just select A2 to A20. So I select my client, then put a comma. My values will be my sales here, so my column E. And then as a function, I can do a sum, I can do the percent of, which is a brand new function, or average or median or every other possible function. I am going to go with sum because my boss asked me, hey, who's the best client that we sold to this year? And then for the field headers, you can choose between no, between yes but don't show, between no but generate, or yes and show. For me, I will always put yes and show because I think it makes more clearer data. So I'm gonna go with 3. And then for the totals, I want my grand totals in my data. I don't want any subtotals for now, but this is an option as well. As for the sort order, it works with the number of rows. So if I just go with 1, it is going to sort on my first row, which was the client. So it's going to go by name. And then if I put 2, it's going to go with the second row, which is the values here, the sales amount. As you can see, it starts with Donald Trump and it ends with the weekend. And then if I go with a negative number, it is basically the same. If I go with -1, here we go, we have it sorted with the client name. And if we go -2, it is going to be sorted on the second row, aka the values here. So we will have the weekend at the top and Donald Trump at the bottom. Example number 2, I'll show you how to pivot data using the pivot by function. Let's get back into Excel and let's say my boss asks me what are the sales by country and by month. Equal pivot by, open the parenthesis, and then as for the row, I want my country. I put a comma, the columns field will be my month here in my column C. The values will be the sales amount. And let's say this time we want the average. We don't want the sum, we want the average. So we just type average real quick. Then once again, we select our field headers. I'll go really quick here because it's the same as pivot by. The rows total depth, we want the grand totals only. The row sort order, I'll keep this one blank. I'll keep everything else blank actually. Put enter, and here we go really fast. We have our pivot data, columns are months and rows are countries. Let's say I want this pivot table a little bit cleaner and make it vertical. What I'll do is I'll just go back in my function and interchange the 2 first values, aka the rows and the columns. And then let's see what it gives. Here we go, we press enter here and we have a much cleaner data. All we have to do is put back our format on our month. So I go on my month, I use the format painter and then I go select my month. And here we go, we have much cleaner data. We can do a little bit of formatting on the numbers and we pivoted some data really quick. Once again, if we want to sort, we can go in the row sort order and it works the same ways as pivot by. If I put 1, it's going to sort my data based on the first value. If I put 2, on the second value. So in this specific case, I'll put -2 to have my best month at the top here. So I have my month of June, that is $30K at the top. Pressing the like button on this video will spread it to more people so you know what to do. Example number 3, our boss isn't too sure that he wants his best client to be Donald Trump, so he asks us what's the best client by tier and by country. Here we go, we use a pivot by function once again, and for the row field we are going to select the client and the tier as well. So we select both columns in the same argument, then we put a comma. For the column fields, I will put my country once again, and for the values we are going to put the sales amount. In the previous example we have put the average, but now we are going to go with, let's say, the median. We're going to do something different. I will leave all the other fields completely blank because I only want to show you the results of what it gives. I put enter, and as you can see, I didn't put my headers, so my headers are completely blank here. But for the results, we have Ariana Grande or Goddess at the top here because the data is sorted on the first column right now. As you can see really quick, we have Eminem right here that has 2 tier. He is the only one that has 2 tier because all the other values are unique. But real quick, it just acts as a pivot table and you can see your split by client and by tier. Let's say I add my headers here, so I put a comma after the median and I put a 3, and here we go. We see now that we have our client and our tier real quick shown there. The data is more clean once again, and we have the country that appeared as well. We could sort our data, add some subtotals, but here we have the pivot by function that can add multiple rows or multiple columns just like a pivot table. So will you stick to pivot tables or give a shot at these new functions?